Hello and welcome to the channel. Today I'm going to be talking about every single book release you need to be paying attention to in 2026 within the fantasy space. Really quickly before I do get started, because I've got a lot of books to get through today, if I do miss any books off this list at all, please feel free to comment them down below. However, don't be like this guy on my TikTok who decided to comment down below, invalid list because you missed this book off, when that book was in fact on my list. Kevin, if you need to borrow these, do let me know. Okay, so the first big release of the year will be 12 Month. This is coming January the 20th, and it is the 18th book in the Dresden Files. It's the first one in a little while, so a lot of Dresden fans are excited about it. I won't really go into details about this because either you've read the first 17 Dresden books and you're hyped for this, or you haven't and you don't care. The next big book release of the year is To Ride a Rising Storm. Now, this is the follow-up to Shape a Dragon's Breath, and it's coming on the 27th of January. It follows a young indigenous woman who is forced to attend a colonizer-run Dragon Academy. On the 3rd of February, we have Hammerfall by Rob J. Hayes, which is a God Eater saga story. This is an indie release that is Norse-inspired. On the 17th of February, we have a new release from Heather Fawcett, the author of Emily Wilde. This one is set in 1920s Montreal and follows an old woman who runs a cat shelter who needs to turn to a grumpy old wizard to help save her shelter. Also on the 17th of February, we have a new release from historical fiction author Kate Quinn, who is plunging into the fantasy genre with The Astral Library. This is a book about a library where books act as doors to new worlds, new lives, and new futures. Also on the 17th of February, we have The Daughter Who Remains. This is the conclusion to Nnedi Okorafor's She Who Knows trilogy, which is set in the world of Who Fears Death, a brilliant African futurism trilogy I highly recommend. On the 24th of February, we have Red Winter by Cameron Sullivan. This is a historical fantasy drawing on the Beast of Geworden, I have butchered that pronunciation, about a small mountain village in France faced with werewolves. On the 10th of March, we have the 4th book in the Tyrant Philosophy series by Adrian Tchaikovsky. Now, this man has so many releases this year. I actually saw him post about the fact that he missed one of his own releases off his blog post about his releases for this year. So if you're an Adrian Tchaikovsky fan, you are in for a stellar 2026. I think there are like 5 books or something coming out. It's just insane. On the 24th of March, we have Daughter of Crows from Mark Lawrence. Now, this is one of my most anticipated releases of this next year. It follows the survivor of a brutal academy. Hundreds of girls are sold to this academy, and 10 years later, only 3 emerge. From author of Altered Carbon, Richard Morgan, we have No Man's Land coming on the 24th of March. This is set during the First War, and it's about the forest consuming the British countryside, and this forest contains these monstrous fae-like creatures. I guess March is the month of Richards because Richard Swan also has a book coming out in March. This is Steel Gods, which is the follow-up to Grave Empire, and that's coming out on the 31st. On the 1st of April, A.S. Tamaki, a debut author I believe, is dropping the Book of Fallen Leaves. Now, this one has been hyped up by a lot of people. It's being compared to Game of Thrones meets Shogun. All I'll say is I'll believe it when I see it, but I'm very excited about this one. The Killing Spell is another debut author release. Now, this one is about a young Hawaiian woman in a fantasy future where language magic reigns, trying to solve a murder to clear her own name. The Girl with 1,000 Faces is dropping on the 5th of May. This one is set in historic Hong Kong. It's a gothic tale that draws on ancient mythology. We're also getting on the 5th of May the 7th novella in the Singing Hills cycle, brilliant series of Asian-inspired novellas. On the 19th of May, we are getting a follow-up to Amina al-Sarafi, which is a pirate tale about a mother who is content and retired, but was once a notorious pirate in the Indian Ocean, coming out of retirement for another adventure. And this cover is just so good. The Unicorn Hunter by Catherine R. Dern is dropping on the 2nd of June. This is about an orphan duchess traveling into a world of myth. The Heart of the Naga has been translated from its original South Korean into English, and that is releasing on the 2nd of June. This author has been called the South Korean J.R.R. Tolkien, and this is apparently a grand quest that I am super excited for. A Dance of Burning Blades, the follow-up to A Song of Legends Lost, will be dropping on the 9th of June. This is a series about a commoner who summons a spirit in a world where commoners should not be able to summon spirits. Brandon Sanderson and Peter O'Rulian are dropping Songs of the Dead on the 16th of June. This is about a London rocker who discovers a secret society of wizards who are keeping London safe. Kill All Wizards is a sword and sorcery book dropping on the 16th of June. This has been called Conan the Barbarian Caught Up in a Comedy of Manners. The Eye of Leviathan by M.A. Carrick is dropping on the 14th of July. This is set in an alternate Spanish golden age where map makers are the architects of reality. Misery Wife is a queer cli-fi reimagining of a Portuguese folktale, and that is dropping on the 14th of July as well. On the 14th of July, we're getting a new book from John Wiswell, the winner of last year's Nebula with Someone You Can Build a Nest In. This is called The Dragon Has Some Complaints, and it's about a dragon with 3 heads, all of which have very different personalities. Out of the Ashes is dropping on the 3rd of August. This is the start of a new series set in the world of Elan that is set for the Rhaeria Chronicles. A Trade of Blood from Robert Jackson Bennett is dropping on the 11th of August. This is the 3rd and I believe the final book in the Shadow of the Leviathan series that started with The Tainted Cup. Deadbeat is coming in September 2026. This is the 3rd and I believe also the final book in the Alex Stern series that began with Ninth House. Bodies of Magic by Freya Marsk is coming on the 15th of September. This is set in a school of healers, and when they go for the first day of their 5-day final exam, they find a dead body. Never good. The Scarlet Ball from Nevo is dropping on the 6th of October. This is about a convent girl turned courtesan turned failed thief who is on the lookout for her next identity. Sounds like she has more identity crisis than even me. Also on the 6th of October, according to the Waterstones website, we are getting the 3rd book in the Burning series, which began with Rage of Dragons. On the 13th of October, Christopher Bjorman is dropping The Thrice-Bound Fool. This is the follow-up to The Black Tongue Thief, which I thought was really, really unfunny. So I wouldn't recommend reading it, but I'm sure other people loved it, whatever. Idiots. On the 3rd of November, Glenn Cook is dropping They Cry. This is the 2nd book in a new arc of the Black Company. That's his main series. Yeah. A lot of these are just kind of books that are the next book in the series, and I'm just like, it's the next book in the series. This is informative, but probably not that exciting to watch. Oh well.